Welcome to Pediatricks. Neurodevelopmental problems in kids. Poor school performance of kids may be due to audiovisual impairment, speech delay, intellectual disability, autism spectrum disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or learning disorders. Now, let's look at them one by one. Autism spectrum disorders. It's mostly due to genetic causes and intrauterine infections, medications. All these have been implicated to development of autism later on. There was a fake study which was published in 1998 in Lancet journal by a doctor called Andrew Wakefield, who connected MMR vaccination and autism. It turned out to be a fake study, and this name got struck off from UK Medical Register in 2010. But that news, that rumor is still there that MMR can cause autism, but it was a fake study and there is no link at all. There are two major features in kids with autism. Basically, one is lack of communication and interaction, and second thing is restricted and repetitive patterns in things they do. There are certain milestones kids develop in the social and language development as they grow. But in kids with autism spectrum disorders, even at 6 months, they avoid keeping eye contact. Even by 9 months, they do not respond to name, do not show any facial expression like happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, nothing. By 12 months, they still refuse to play interactive games like pat a cake, peekaboo, no gestures like tata, bye-bye, nothing. By 15 months, they still do not share any interest with others. They not. By 1.5 years, they do not look at a direction when pointed to. Even at 2 years, they do not show any reaction when a person close to them show some emotion like being hurt or being sad. They just refuse to acknowledge that. So these are the early features of ASD. The next is restricted and repetitive behaviors. They line up their toys in a one particular manner. If the order gets changed, they get disturbed. They play with the same toys in the same manner every time. They get focused in particular parts of their toys. Like if it's a cycle, they just play with the wheels. They rotate the wheels and concentrate at that particular point. They get upset with minor changes in their rooms and room arrangement or routines. They repeat the same words again and again, repeat the same phrases again and again. They have obsessive interest, not at all interested in anything other than their daily routine things. They may flap their hands, rock the body, spin off in circles. It keeps on repeating every day in their daily routine. And they may show unusual reaction to some sound, smell, taste, some look, feel. They may show a reaction which may scare others that way. So these two are the major features of autism spectrum disorder. One is lack of communication skills, and second is restricted repeated behaviors. Other features are delayed language skills, delayed movement skills, delayed learning skills. Sometimes there may be associated hyperactivity and impulsivity. There can be seizure disorders, unusual eating habits, gastrointestinal issues like constipation, unusual mood swings, anxiety, stress, and things like that. And it's not mandatory that they are exceptionally good in another field. There are certain movies which have portrayed that way, and parents expect that to be the norm, and it may not be that case always. The next thing is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Again, causes are genetics, brain injury, exposure to environmental factors like lead during pregnancy, alcohol and tobacco use in pregnancy, premature delivery, low birth weight, etc. have been associated with development of ADHD later on. Eating too much sugar, watching too much of television, parental, social, environmental factors such as poverty, sleep deprivation, all these have been proven to have no role in development of ADHD. The diagnostic criteria basically in ADHD, the two major features of one is inattention, second one is hyperactivity and impulsivity, as the name of the disorder suggests. Now coming to inattention, they do not seem to listen when they are spoken to. They overlook or miss small details. They are very careless in their daily routine schooling works. They have problems in sustaining attention while having a conversation. In between, they get disturbed very easily. They do not follow instructions given to them in their daily routine work or at school. They have problems organizing tasks and activities. They avoid attending school or doing their homework. They lose things which are routinely used, like pens, pencils. They repeatedly keep losing them, not totally careless. They can be easily distracted by like unrelated thoughts or stimuli. Forgetfulness in daily activities is another feature in their inattention field. The next component is hyperactivity or impulsivity. They keep on fidgeting and squirming in their seats. While attending a class, they may just leave the seat and walk around. They may run and dash around in inappropriate situation, like while attending the class, they may just get up and walk around in the class while the class is still going on. They are usually unable to play one particular thing and engage in particular hobbies. They are constantly in motion and they talk non-stop. They sometimes blurt out answer. They do not wait for their turn to talk. In between questions, they start answering. They can't wait for their turn, basically. So now, some of these features are normal in the course of development. Most of the healthy children are inactive, hyperactive and impulsive at one time or another. And they're usually at young age, they're energetic and they like exploring things. And they have a little bit extra charge than the parents, and the parents get tired. So every time a parent starts running behind them and gets tired, they feel that there's something abnormal with the kids. But at that particular age, it's normal. And if it's a disorder, the pattern is going to stay whether they are at home or at school or outside, inside, it doesn't matter. Some kids are a little bit naughty at home but normal at school, or naughty at school and normal at home. All these things are pointers against a disorder, and it's just their behavioral change. And symptoms can appear, actually, in a proper disorder, symptoms can appear as early as 3 to 6 years, and it can continue to adolescence and adulthood. So we need to keep a watch, and in that case, you need to intervene quite early enough. Another problem in school-going children is learning disorders. It can be dyslexia, difficulty in reading, dysgraphia, difficulty in writing, and dyscalculia, difficulty in doing maths problems. Causes of learning disabilities, again, family history, genetics, prenatal, neonatal risk factors like intrauterine growth restriction, premature birth, very low birth weight, exposure to alcohol, drugs before being born. All these things can cause learning disabilities. Physical trauma, head injuries, infection to the central nervous system. Psychological trauma also can cause a little bit of, has got influence on learning disorders developing later on. Early symptoms of learning disabilities, basically difficulty in recognizing pattern and sorting items. Like by 1 year, they are able to recognize size and shape, solve small puzzles. But kids with learning disabilities may show a difficulty in doing that at that age. They may have difficulty in recognizing left and right. They keep on reversing the letters. Like for us, a chair is being placed on its legs, it's a chair. You put it upside down, it's still a chair. You put it sideways, it's still a chair. For a kid with a learning disability, every letter looks the same. A put this way, upside down, sideways, everything looks like an A. Same as we look at a chair, they look at a letter. So they may not be intentionally writing it, but sometimes the direction of the letter may be totally different. It can happen with numbers. And this is normal in the initial days. But if this person is beyond first standard, second standard, then probably there may be a problem and may need some intervention. They have may have difficulty in understanding and following instructions and staying organized. Difficulty in remembering just instruction which has been given to them just prior to being asked to do it. lacking in coordination while moving around in sports. They have difficulty in in organized sports. They have difficulty in doing fine motor tasks like writing, cutting, drawing. They find it very difficult to cope up with the rest of the peer group. Some kids have difficulty in understanding the concept of time. For them, night, day, evening, morning, afternoon, everything looks the same. They easily misplace their homework, school books, and other items. They resist doing homework or activities. They might feel that there is something wrong with them, and they start refusing to do it early. It may not be because of the perception of being wrong, but they just hate to do it because they keep on making mistakes. So specifically to dyslexia or reading disorder, they may have a difficulty in getting connection with letters, words, sounds, spelling. They just can't connect them at all. They have hard time in understanding what others say, organizing written and spoken language, delay in able to speak, difficulty in expressing their thoughts and feelings. All these are features of dyslexia. And dysgraphia, it's basically writing disorder, so they have very poor handwriting, very strong dislike to write, whatever it is, problems with grammar, trouble in writing down ideas. They may be able to speak, but they cannot write them down. Until then, they're very active and playful. The moment they start writing, they feel totally drained off. They refuse to write. While writing, they may speak to themselves, read them loud so that it can help them write. Sometimes they may leave the words unfinished. They may skip 2 or 3 letters. All these are features of writing disorder. Again, these are normal in the early ages, but by 5-6 years, they are supposed to grow out of them. Dyscalculia, they can read and write properly, but max problems, they just can't understand. Like even simple calculations like positive, negative, sometimes plus, minus, max, like word problems. They have problems in doing cash transactions. So basically, even simple problems in max, they can't process them. It's a feature of dyscalculia. So if you find any of these features, you may have to give them extra support. There are support groups helping kids with learning disabilities. Another problem is fluency disorder. In preschool children, you find disfluency. They keep on stuttering or stammering, but they are not at all bothered about it. They just continue that way. But by 2 to 4 years, sometimes the kids actually develop proper stuttering or stammering, and they repeat the same syllable twice or more. They try to speak faster than normal so that they can bypass this issue. They have vocal tension. They may be frustrated. They are not able to complete the sentence, and it may be aggravated by stress. So all these are features of fluency disorder. So small kids, 1 year, 2 year, they show a little bit of problem in fluency, not a problem, but 2 to 4 years, if they, especially if they show tension or frustration while speaking because the same letter is being repeated, then you need to look into the matter. Hope this helped. Happy parenting.